Let's chat. Our guest, Trez Ibrahim. We've got in the chat. She's wrote a book, The Modern Woman: Discover Your Inner Sweet, Sexy, Badass Queen. I guess I can't read this then.
You can absolutely read that. You can
Can
learn
I?
a lot about women. Yes. By reading that.
Then I might be in real trouble. Tell me a little bit about the book, Trez.
So, I was a daughter of the whole feminist movement.
Okay.
And promised equality for all. And women, I don't think we ever really got equality. What we got is a whole lot of extra work. And
Quite true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this was kind of my vision of recreating that balance where I can, we talked about this earlier, most successful women have failed marriages, and young women now feel like they have to choose between a career and family. So this is about how you can be and do it all. How can women be successful, kick bottom at work, be independent, be strong, be powerful, and still be a woman, still be feminine, still be taken care of. So it's balancing the feminine and masculine aspects of women.
That's kind of an interesting concept, because during the break I was sharing with you my mom's feeling on this.
Absolutely.
And and my mom worked all the time. I mean, so it wasn't like she helped run a successful business, but always the lady.
Yes.
Right. And never had to change that. And I was always so proud. I was a big fan of hers. We were a fan of each other. But the whole idea was she was able to balance that. And she didn't like the feminist movement, just because I guess she had her own ways, but she raising a family, taking care of a house. Maybe it's just because she had a good partner in my dad, because he didn't want her to have to do anything that he didn't want to do.
Well, it sounds like she embodied the concepts in the book, because the book talks about being sweet, which is that mothering, nurturing, loving, connecting part of a woman. Balance with the sexy, that's the playmate, that's the fun, sexy, vivacious, alive part of a woman. Balance with the badass, that's the person that can be successful and set goals and achieve goals and run a household, run a business, run the world. And the queen is that lady. She's the one that is connected to her core. She's the one with manners. She's the one that's kind. She's also the one that lets the men be the heroes in her life. So having all of those four, I call them archetypes. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with archetypes, but there are characteristics.
I'm not. I'm just a simple guy here sitting doing a little radio.
Yeah. So archetypes are qualities that are inherent in all of us.
Okay.
And so what I teach women to do, I teach my clients to do, is to incorporate all these four types in your life, in every area of your life, so that you can be strong and powerful and still be feminine, still let the men take care of you, hold the door open for you.
So why is it that you made that comment about that what was the most successful women have failed marriages? Why?
Well, that's because they're being the man. That's because they're really embodying the masculine characteristics. They forgot their femininity. They forgot to sit back and allow people to take care of them. They've lost their core, in essence. They're becoming, and I know, I was a victim of that, because growing up, I wanted to be the best man in the room. And I started competing with men. I liked the results or the benefits that men got. So I forgot who I was as a woman. And
that's an interesting concept. You like the results or benefits that the man got.
Yeah, because I wasn't controlled. I got to take care of my own bills. I got to make decisions. And so to me, I looked at being a woman as weak. That's how we were raised in the feminist movement. We didn't want to be women. We wanted to be men. We wanted to compete with men. And so we kind of denied our femininity, but it doesn't work.
No one ever, but I think the first person I've ever heard say that, right? That the feminist movement was was trying to make women weak. That what you said?
It was drawing women into competing with men. It's like we want everything that men have, and so we stepped into our masculinity. So we started wearing the pants. We started making the money. We started saying we don't need men in our life.
Well, boy, your book is really timely with some of the goofy things that are going on in college sports and whatnot right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think women have incredible gifts to offer, and they still need to bring their femininity to everything they're doing. And so there's really an elegant way to be successful, to again run a household, run business, and be happy.
Is there something wrong when I look at it and say, there is a difference between men and women,
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is a difference.
right? I mean,
Absolutely.
it's to me, you look at it and you say, I don't want my wife to be a man.
No.
Right? We've got a
And
great marriage for a lot of years.
absolutely. And I think what's happening too is that the strong women are weakening the men. And then they complain, why isn't he taking charge? Why isn't he providing? Why isn't he protecting me? Why isn't he being a leader? It's because women have become so strong for castrating men.
Interesting.
And that's the dynamics that I see happening. And that's why most successful women can't hold on to relationships. They need to shift how they show up with other people.
Interesting. We're going to continue this conversation. I'm learning a lot here. And you know something, I think a lot of guys can learn a lot here, and a lot of ladies should be listening to this as well, because there's a lot to be said about, there's a reason there's two genders. I mean, it goes back to Adam and Eve, right? There's a lot going on here, and something, we should be who we are and embrace that. Continuing our conversation, Trez Ibrahim is with us. We're chatting about her book, The Modern Woman, Discover Your Inner Sweet, Sexy, Badass Queen. Now, let's break some of this down, Ibrahim. Trez, I'm sorry. Inner sweet.
Yes.
What is inner sweet?
So all of those.
No one's ever referred to me as inner sweet. So I guess this book, I'm not a modern woman,
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, so you've got the sweet, sexy, badass. I mean, those are 4 specific archetypes. So the sweet is the mother. Now that's the stereotypical mother. She's very nurturing, giving, loving. She connects with people. She anticipates your needs. So she knows what you need even before you do. She's so connected. That's why she has that intuitive sense about her children. That's why she, when her husband comes home, she knows, how to make him feel better. Now, too much of that.
This is a family show. We're not talking about that here.
Well, I mean, making him a nice meal or, a hot cup of coffee or something.
Martini.
And so absolutely pouring him a drink after a long day's work. So, but too much of that can make her a martyr, can make her a doormat. That's the mother that is so connected to other people's needs, she loses touch with her own. And so
isn't that her partner's job too?
Well, but that's how the other archetypes balance her, so that she sets boundaries and she doesn't get too focused on everybody else. She loses touch with herself, because the responsibility is really on you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Bill, I know. Dr. Bill's putting on here, I think Ron is inner sweet. Okay.
I love it. I love it. So now that's balanced with the sexy. The sexy is the playmate. Now, a lot of women start having children, and then the men complain, the intimacy goes away.
Okay.
Or they're so, again, busy taking care of everybody, they let themselves go.
Okay.
And so the sexy is that part of woman that needs to dress up, that needs to have fun, that needs to let that inner child out and play, that enjoys intimacy, that enjoys being vivacious and outgoing. And so too much of that can make her maybe promiscuous, and also a little flighty, and some people can't count on. So that's balanced with the badass. The badass is the CEO in a woman, and that's a part of her that sets boundaries. So whereas the mother always says yes, the CEO says no.
Oh, okay.
She's the part of the woman that says enough's enough. You're taking advantage of me at this point. She's the one that sets goals. She's also responsible for earning money. She's the one that can run a household, run a business, run the world. She's the person that does what she says what she does. She's very organized, very diligent, very independent. She can take care of herself. And so that makes her powerful and strong. And then all that's balanced with the queen. The queen is the high priestess. That's the part of her that's soft. That's a part of her that's connected to a deeper core. I call it spirituality connected to something greater than herself. She's a woman that knows who she is because of who she is. It could be God, divinity, the universe, the tree, whatever you want to call it. She's a woman that that walks in the room and lights up the room, and she doesn't have to say a word. So it makes her a lady, it makes her kind. She's the one that never gossips. She doesn't say anything bad about anybody.
I was on with you right there until the last little part. Right? Because there are a lot of folks that fit that, but they continue on. That must be the 5th part of the architecture, then, is the one that gossips.
Well, what it is gossiping is never good for anybody. It just brings you down.
Right.
So, but the badass can be tough. She can say, oh, heck no, this is not going to happen. And the queen,
But does that have to be a worker, or can that be on a personal level also?
anywhere.
Oh, okay.
She's very disciplined with her children. She sets standards and expectations with her spouse. She holds her employees to certain expectations. She's very clear in her communication, and she sets immediate boundaries. So the queen sets boundaries, whereas the mother is just going to give and give and give. The CEO in her steps in and say, okay, enough's enough.
Wow.
So all of this
sounds pretty complex.
It's when you get to know these 4 parts of you, you can really play with the whole, I need a little more badass here. Or I'm on a date, let me bring the sexy playmate out. This man is crossing the line. The CEO needs to step in and say no.
Okay.
So that's how the balance happens.
That sounds pretty interesting. There's a lot to this. This is pretty serious stuff for a Thursday morning or afternoon, depending upon when you're listening.
Well, I'll tell you, there's an equivalent to men as well. And so men can really step into all parts of themselves as well.
Okay, so that's where Dr. Bill becomes the modern woman.
The modern man.
A modern man, okay.
I would say discover your inner kind, charming, badass king.
Okay. I don't know. So is that book out?
Not yet.
No. Oh, we're hearing about your breaking news right here.
I don't
working
know.
on that?
We'll see. I tend to be attracting a lot more male clients, so we'll need to work on something.
Are you attracting male clients because males are constantly trying to figure out women?
Absolutely, and they're trying to figure out their place among women because they want to be a man, but then they're being shot down for trying to be a leader, and so a lot of men are getting that rude awakening after 15-year marriage. Wife comes and says, "I want a divorce." They have no clue why. So they need to understand how women are changing, how the world is changing, and how they need to show up.
Yeah, that's a big issue. I mean, because and what is it? Every 7 years something's different.
Mm-hmm.
As far as and I look at like I've said before, I'm 36 years into a life sentence. But you look at the first 7 years, we were just us, and then we had toddlers.
Mm-hmm.
The next 7 we're dealing with school, so we've got a whole different family dynamic. And then the next 7, I know after like 20 some years, my wife was trying to figure out what's her place,
Oh,
right? Because she was so busy raising kids and watching the kids and being their taxi driver and all that, that you almost lose, what's your identity?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and that's the problem with mothers is she's so much spending her time taking care of everyone else. She does lose who she is, so she needs to balance it with the other archetypes. And I'll tell you, with men, one of the things women ask for is be more emotionally available, be more connected to your emotions, and then we ask and then we complain that they're so weak and wimpy. So that's where men are getting mixed messages.
Yeah, something, and I have a feeling, I think a lot of it has to do with this divisive culture that we're in. And we're going to continue our conversation. Trez, Ibrahim, we're chatting about the modern woman. Discover your inner sweet, sexy, badass queen. And for those of you guys that you can call, we've done this before. And this time, Trez, you might appreciate this. So at this time of year, I frequently will have a criminal lawyer on the show. And I have an owner of a limousine company. And we do that at this time of year because we figure, let's help people understand what's going to be most cost effective. A DUI or hiring a limousine for the night. So the criminal attorney says it's about $15,000 for a DUI. And the limousine company says about $200 for the night. So now what we need to do is we can have you come on with a divorce attorney. Yeah. Read the book and understand your partner, and it's probably a lot cheaper than divorce. And I'm just going to say I wouldn't want to be single anymore.
It's tough. It's really tough out there. The rules have changed. People don't know what their place is. Everyone's doing their own thing, and there's still an elegant way of navigating that. And yes, figuring this out is much cheaper than a divorce.
Right, exactly. But before the break, we were talking about, knowing our place. Mm-hmm. And I shared with you during one of the commercials that I'm old school.
Mhm.
I raised my kids old school. I've taught my boys old school. I'm not ashamed of it, saying that some people say I'm chauvinist, some people say I'm chivalrous. Might be a fine line in there. But I tell my boys that I still open the door for my wife, for the car, for a restaurant, wherever we go. My boys have been taught the same thing. They do that for their wives. And we go to a Starbucks. I know my son's gotten chastised sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. I think that the beautiful opportunity we have as women now is, I can open my own door. So that gives me freedom. That gives me independence. But it's nice to know when I'm with you, I don't have to.
And that's a big issue right there.
And that's the space that we can step into, is that, yes, I'm not needy, but I do need you.
Yeah.
And I benefit from other people in my life. I benefit from the man in my life. And he benefits from me in my life, because I'm responsible as a woman for his spiritual upbringing, for his spiritual nature, for that emotional support. And that lets him go out and slay dragons and make multi-millions. And really, a man is more successful when he's got a strong, incredible, loving woman by his side.
100%. It's kind of funny that you say that, because maybe 10 years ago or something, I made that comment to my wife.
Mm-hmm.
I said, something, it's her that gives me the strength to go and do what I do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. If she doesn't have to go and do it with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun now that we do a lot of things together, but knowing that she's there, and that I get to go home to her every night, I wake up with her every morning. That's the strength.
Yes. And for a woman, it's for a man to be able to provide and protect her, allows her to really step into her femininity and be more of a woman, and be more loving and giving and providing for her circle, for her family. So a man stepping in and protecting her, making her feel safe and secure, is absolutely important.
Now, this is great for us talking about this for the last hour.
Mm-hmm.
How does somebody go the next step with you to have you help them?
They can absolutely reach out to me. I'm on all social media platforms. Trez, Ibrahim. They can DM me.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And where do you get the book?
That's on Amazon.
Amazon.
Yes.
Isn't everything on Amazon nowadays?
Everything's on Amazon. I will say, though, you have to type in my name, Trez Ibrahim, to find the book. If you type in The Modern Woman, you'll get 2 million books that pop up that have the woman, the name woman in there. You won't find it. But with my name, you'll find the book. And it's a great Christmas gift.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yes.
What's it cost?
$19.99, I think.
Oh,
I'm not sure.
Okay, so go in there, search Trez Ibrahim. We've got it running right across the bottom of the screen. And do you do individual coaching or just the book?
I do one-on-one coaching. I also do group coaching. I have a number of programs, and I also have a specific program for how to discover your inner sweet, sexy, badass queen.
Good, Dr. Bill, that's for you. I'm going to get you that. I might even get you the book, Dr. Bill. Okay, so.
And I do coach men and women. Like I tell you, I'm attracting a lot more men these days, and I love working with them, because I want them to step into their masculinity as well in a powerful way, and not upset other women.
So we only have about a minute left. I want to ask you this question, though, because you're coaching men to understand their masculinity, but what about coaching men to understand what their women need?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And that goes hand in hand. Thing? Oh, yes. Because part of a man's nature is to protect and provide and preside over their women. So how do they do that?
Especially in this day and age, when in many instances you go and do that, you get chastised.
Well, because women feel like they're being controlled, and they don't want to be controlled. They want to be led. And I teach men how to be leaders, not controllers.
That's a big difference.
Absolutely. Big difference.
Okay, so Josh, we got a bunch of work to do. I guess I'm gonna have to figure out how to read, because I don't know how to read. And Trez tells me she doesn't have this on Audible yet, but
not yet.
At least it's big print. So I haven't read a book this big in years. Jeez. Okay, but I'm gonna have to get it and share it. I know a bunch of people that may really like that. I might have to call my wife and tell her that this is what we're giving out for the holidays this year.